Hello and welcome. Welcome to Everything is Energy and welcome to the super full moon in Gemini. The full moon is exact on December 4th, 2025 at 3:14 p.m. Pacific time. And this is another super full moon. And this, it's worth noting that this just means that the moon is closest point to the Earth while also being fully illuminated by the sun. So these two things together energetically have the tendency to kind of amplify the emotional volume, the our ability to experience and interpret our emotions. And emotions are intuition. So this is also a very kind of psychic um, energy about this particular full moon. Supermoons also have a tendency to make things just feel, closer, louder, more personal, more consequential. So what we will be feeling beneath the light of this full moon is not necessarily subtle. And with the moon at 13 degrees of Gemini, this illumination comes through the realms of communication, language, thought, perception, conversation, meaning making, but also, I like to remind us that communication isn't just words, it's our vibration. And this full moon is going to invite us to really it's going to shine some light on how we are interpreting our 3D world. What stories are we telling about the world that we are living and breathing in today? It's also a time for us to take a look at what information we're consuming or repeating or transmitting, because communication is also just what we're vibrating about when we're sitting alone. So every full moon has the sun and the moon opposite each other. So this means that the sun is at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the archer with his arrow pointed directly at the galactic center, reminding us of where we came from, reminding us that we are star stuff. And Sagittarius is going to pull us towards truth and belief and higher knowing. Sag has this sense of a moral compass in the sense that it really wants the bigger picture. It likes to have a big, grand view. It doesn't just want the quick, easy answer. So if Sag wants the big picture, this is kind of the why beneath the why. And this full moon is setting up a wonderful sort of tension between information and wisdom, between what we experience in our physical world and what the world that we're wanting to create. And so this is inviting us to just kind of, again, we're going to be invited to look at the beliefs that are shaping our thoughts, to look at what information is shaping our thoughts, and also to see if there's something that we're paying attention to that might not be true, and if there's some sort of deeper truth that we can uncover if we're willing to let go of the way we currently feel things are. And I'll mention this in a little bit, but there's a lot of mutable energy in this chart. So many planets and objects are in mutable signs, and mutable energy is just like what it sounds. It's shape shifting. It's very comfortable with this idea that nothing is set in stone, and that is kind of the backdrop that I'll revisit in a little bit. But I want to also note that the sun opposite the moon at 13 degrees of Sagittarius is conjunct what's known as the Great Attractor. The Great Attractor actually sits at 14 degrees of Sag. Um, but it's not a planet. It's kind of like this cosmic focal point of immense gravitational pull. It's a vacuum of sorts. And symbolically, energetically, it's representing this kind of like a deep magnetic transformational force. It's a place where things are lifted up and out of linear time and space. And timelines can be quantum leaped. They can be drawn forward, or something can happen as if it's above and beyond the limitations of the physical world. So to have the sun conjunct, well, so the great attractor is kind of, let me just say, it's about destiny. It's about this something happening that just feels magnetic. And I would offer that it's this kind of spiritual gravity that's pulling us toward the timeline acceleration that we're likely very deeply craving right now. And with the suns are the core of our identity, our consciousness. And the sun is creative life force. And conjunct this great attractor, we're not simply choosing our direction. We're not just mentally choosing, we're being pulled. And there's this sense that there's something, there's a larger hand, there's a larger intelligence afoot that's guiding us. So under the light of the full moon, this might feel like a kind of a sudden clarity, because full moons are illuminating times. Clarity about why we're here, what our soul is really here to experience and do and co-create. It can also feel a little bit like there's this longing for things that we can't quite see. The great attractor is often about people who have it in their charts, can intuit information before it manifests, because the 3D world is the last phase of the energetic stage, so to speak. So the great attractor is kind of inviting us to look around the periphery. And the magnetic draw is towards this future that, even though it's unknown, we can feel the pull. And that's going to give us some sense of satisfaction, even though we're in this kind of very unfinished business, as everything is mutable around us. So when we look at the sun and the great attractor opposed to the Gemini moon, there's this tension, as there always is in a full moon, but it's kind of a neat tension, because it's, on the one hand, Gemini full moon, it's a tension between what our mental self and our mental being understands, and the tension between what our soul already knows. If you've been listening to me for a while, sometimes to me it feels like my back comes out my front, like there's this faded aspect. So this full moon is definitely a cosmic reorientation for us. We may not yet understand where we're being led, but we can feel the energetic pull. And now there's probably the most remarkable aspect that's in this chart for this full moon is what's known as a mutable grand cross. And this involves the sun and the moon, but it also involves the lunar nodes. And when we have a mutable grand cross, there's this sense that we're being recalibrated. There's a sense that we know what we're leaving, and we're okay with letting go, but we're not able to see what's being created. If you think about the metaphor of having, you're walking on stepping stones, and you pick your foot up off of one stone, you know that you left that stone, and your foot's in midair, but you haven't landed the foot on the other stone. That's what this feels like. There's this sense of uh, liquidity almost, or just everything. It could feel, on the one hand, a little bit uh, like an overload or a restlessness, but it also is so potent right now. It means that anything is possible. It means that anything, exclamation point, is possible. And mutable energy dissolves the old before the new is born. So under this grand cross, certainty is not going to be what we should be looking for. What is available to us right now is the sense of adaptation, this sense of surrender, this sense of intuitive knowing or discernment, and also just energetic and spiritual listening and sensing for what is coming. And with the South Node, we have the South Node in Virgo. South Node in Virgo is conjunct Orcus. And the South Node is about where we've been. It reveals our karmic habits. And here in Virgo, it could be, that we're going to might maybe be able to see how we're hyper critical of ourselves, or how we might be over analyzing something, how we might be stuck in a hyper responsibility or hyper even kind of controlling mode. We're gonna be invited to release here, because this is where we've been, right? And Orcus here, this is Orcus is the keeper of sacred oaths. Orcus is about soul contracts. Orcus is about the promises and the intentions that our soul set afoot when we decided to come into this body in this lifetime. So this kind of suggests that, we're going to be invited to release those patterns that don't serve, because the kind of self-doubt or the over-analysis or the overacting or trying to control, there's this sense that we're not supposed to do it alone. And we're not necessarily going to want to be the heroes, but there's a sense of release and there's a sense of relief with the release. And under this full moon, it just really feels like those types of ancient contracts, the soul meaning, there it's coming up to the surface. And we're going to be, just again, it's magnetic here right now, guys. Things are going to be happening above and beyond linear time and space. And maybe we can look at the things that are happening around the time of this lunation, around the time of this full moon, and see what's happening with grace instead of with fear. And really trust. The North Node in Pisces, North Node is where we're headed individually and collectively. And this is kind of, North Node's going to help us move from control into trust, move from trying to fix or hold things into faith. And even if we're over functioning, or if we're hyper vigilant, this is going to invite us and just draw us. We're going to be drawn into this surrender. But it's not just a faithless surrender. There's this sense of soul purpose here. And instinctively, we're going to, again, just kind of be able to see those places where we might be micromanaging things out of a sense of, this is the old pattern, or this is what I need to carry. And we're going to be shifting into this sense of being a mystic, this sense of the larger truths that we're just barely coming to start to remember. And so the idea here is there's this holy uncertainty. Pisces doesn't ask us to know things. Pisces asks us to listen. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It's asking us to look back over all the lessons of the past, to soften and to allow. And the medicine here at this full moon is not more effort. The medicine here and this full moon is release. So it's as if the old pattern would be that we have to get everything right in order to be worthy and in order to feel safe. And now we're going to be more ready to let ourselves be carried by something larger than who we believe and who we know we are. That there's these magnetic forces afoot. And this, we still have that minor triangle active. We're going to have it throughout the end of the year, into the early next year, but that's between Uranus and Neptune and Saturn and Pluto. And that's all the elders in conversation with this great generational transformational shift. It's a really wonderful time for us to be alive. And I hope that these aspects in these chart, you can't make this up. This is definitely, I think a lot, if you're like me, you can kind of feel that this is speaking to the times that we live in, but also this is just simply the way the planets are lining up. And we have another grand trine, we have a grand water trine. And because we're having a lot of grand trines and a lot of big aspects, because we have these outer planets changing sign, and because Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer, and Neptune and Saturn have gone back into Pisces. This time, those are water elements, which means we're going to be more likely to have water trines as these planets are sitting in these signs. But this is also with Mercury in the sign of Scorpio. So in general, grand trines in water bring emotional coherence. They bring this sort of deep intuition, this sense of hyper sensitivity, hyper psychic sensitivity. And the idea is that we're going to be invited naturally wanting to tune into what we're feeling, and feeling not just in the sense of emotions, but energetically remembering that we're antenna. And with Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, Saturn gives form to Neptune's mysticism. Saturn contracts and Neptune soothes. And together they're really asking us or inviting us, supporting us, and grounding the spiritual down into 3D, but also to make the things that are tangible in our world spiritual, to realize that it's all energy, that today is simply a co-creation of everything from the past. And so with Saturn and Neptune in this grand water trine, it's going to give us some structure. It's going to give us some boundaries for imagination and compassion. And this supports the mutable Grand Cross that I just discussed, because it's offering a container for this sense of dissolution. Dissolution. So if we are going through this period of rebirth, we've been going through it for a while now. We're in the birth canal. We know where we've left the mother's womb. We know where we're headed, or we think, but we've never been there actually. You and I know where the baby's headed, but like the baby's in the birth canal, doesn't know what's happening. It's almost like the butterfly has gone from its caterpillar form. It hasn't even started to form wings yet. It's just this liquid. And so this is the time that we're in, where things, we know what's dissolved. We know that we're feeling ready to let go. But this grand trine is really going to give us this container, and it's going to remind us that we're not meant to dissolve or to let go without a sense of purpose and support. And Mercury in Scorpio is going to give us this sort of penetrating perception. And this is kind of like the divining rod here for us. It's going to help us sense what's unspoken. It's going to help us see beyond the words and read the energy. It's going to invite us to remember that our thoughts become things. And we're going to naturally, in our mental being, in the ways that we're consuming and producing and sharing information, there's going to be this sense of being alchemically honest. Truth is going to be penultimate. And, Mercury and Scorpio right here in this grand trine is asking for truth with emotional depth, not just surface chatter. This is soul aligned communication. And again, communication is not just words, it's everything we do. So we're really going to be, as we're letting go, we're going to be able to speak and vibrate our truth, which is really wonderful. And then with Jupiter and Cancer, I've mentioned this before. This is about, you know, emotional intelligence, but emotional safety. It's about nurturing. It's about this ancestral memory that we might have, that we're here for a reason. And there's this sense of wanting to create spaces that are of genuine care. There's this authenticity of caring. And this trine really says that, we're supported while we soften, and we're held while our beliefs dissolve, and we're nourished while our world and our sense of, maybe even our sense of our identity shifts. This is big stuff. This is powerful stuff. These are powerful times. I can't stress enough that this, and I hope that this helps you to see that everything is always working out, that we're in a time of, karmic release. We're in a time of recalibration. We're in a time where our soul is guiding us and aligning us with the flows that of energy that will get us to where we're going to be next year. And there's going to be this sense of slowness, but also because Saturn is stationed direct and Mercury's stationing direct around the time I'm recording this, there's going to be a sense of picking up pace here too. And one of the things that's going to come through is that it is above and beyond linear time and space. So there's this vortex of sorts. And so this moon is really also reminding us it's not time to force, it's not time to just demand that things be resolved. This is about listening for the energetic currents beneath the noise. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to get to meditation. But before we do, I just want to briefly share with you that we're 2 weeks into my 4-week lunar herbal alchemy intensive. It's a free experiential journey that weaves together the wisdom of the stars, the medicine of the plants, and just the art of ritual and the art of energy healing. And if that sounds interesting to you and you'd like to join us for the remaining weeks, you can get the replays for the first week. Just make sure you're on my email list. I'll put a link in the notes and then you can go ahead and sign up. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the meditation now. Go ahead and find somewhere where you can sit with a straight spine or lie with a straight spine, somewhere where you'll be comfortable and not disturbed for the next just little bit of time. And go ahead and close your eyes and bring your awareness here. Maybe just bring your awareness to your breath. Breathe in through your nose. Calling your attention, calling your focus here. Exhale through your mouth. And let's connect to the physical body right now. Go ahead and notice if there's any areas where you might be holding tension. You can relax your forehead, loosen your jaw, let your shoulders relax. And then as you inhale next, deepen that breath. Breathe in gently, but take a longer inhale. Breathe in through your nose. And take just as much time, if not a little more, on the exhale. Release through your mouth. Again, breathing in through the nose and releasing through the mouth. Slightly deeper, but gentle, easy breath. Allow the breath to, as if it's becoming the waves gently washing up on the ocean shore, becoming a tide. Something you're not efforting, you're not trying to correct. You're just naturally deepening the breath as you're bringing your consciousness there, breathing in through the nose, releasing through the mouth. And now imagine that you're standing beneath a vast twilight sky. And as you look out, the super full moon in Gemini is rising. It's luminous, silver, or maybe it's even gold, and it's alive with energy. It's alive with awareness. And connect to the quality of light that's coming through. It's coming from the moon. The light is not sharp, it's intelligent. And the light, as much as it's illuminating, it's also listening. And allow this moonlight to wash over the crown of your head. Take it in as the moon is rising. Imagine it's up in the sky and it's coming to rest on the top of your head, and let it travel down through your scalp, your face, your throat. And as it's traveling through your head, feel it softening your nervous system. Allow it to start to quiet any emotional static or soothe any overthinking currents. And just be with this light that's still coming down into your head. And start to sense that this is a moon that doesn't demand answers. It's simply revealing to you where your mind may have been working overtime. And it's inviting you to just to soften. And now let the light continue down, down into your shoulders, down into your chest, into your heart, into your solar plexus and into your belly. And again, feel this quality of illumination, but soft and soothing. This light doesn't demand answers, it only wants to show you and help you to release what no longer serves. Maybe the light is showing you where you're holding yourself together just through sheer effort, or you might be trying too hard instead of following the flows. And just settle into this sense that there's no need to fix anything right now. There's only noticing, there's only awareness. And now bring your awareness to the space behind you, just behind your physical back. And if you're lying on the ground, that might be beneath you. But the space behind our physical back is where we hold history, where we hold memory or habit or old contracts. And because we have this grand cross, the south node in Virgo, the light of this full moon might be able to reveal to you something that you're carrying. And it's likely something that you learned about where your worthiness came from. We all have some kind of a, whether it's a parental programming, a societal programming, a collective programming of why we're worthy to be here, why why people like us, why we're lovable, why we're successful, why we're useful. And so just notice as you tune into the area behind your back, if there's any dialogue that's been running about needing to be perfect, needing to be responsible, needing to carry more than your share, or even fixing what was never yours to mend. And with Orcus here in this cross, this is not just about recent habits. This can be ancient contracts. And these can be the types of vows that are made in lifetimes of just trying to survive. So there's no need to judge any contracts or any vows. It's just to remember that sometimes those behaviors did keep us alive and did give us the strength to keep going, but they no longer need to govern our now, and they certainly don't need to be a part of our future. And so now imagine the light of the moon is gently connecting to the space behind you, the space behind your back. And it's just touching the light, this soft, whether it's silver or golden light, it's just touching these old contracts. And the energy is soft and nourishing. It's not tearing the contracts away, it's just warming them. Maybe even loosening their grip or loosening their authority. And you may silently speak, or you may just simply feel these words. I honor what these vows once gave me. And I release what they now ask me to carry. And breathe. Breathe in through your nose. Let the exhale be a release through your mouth. Another thing that if you can speak this, if it resonates to you, I no longer prove my worth through exhaustion. Breathe in through your nose. Take that in to be true if you would like it to, and then exhale, letting go of anything that's ready to be released. Another statement, if it resonates for you, you can speak it or feel it. I no longer bind my worth to perfection. Breathe that in if it feels relevant to you. And exhale, releasing anything that's ready to go. And finally, I no longer mistake control for safety. Breathe that in if it feels relevant for you. Take it in. I no longer mistake control for safety. As you exhale, let the old weight just dissolve gently. Couple more breaths here. You may feel energy, you may feel heat, you may feel tingling, you may feel emotion, you may feel nothing at all. There's no right way to experience energy. In energy healing, all experiences are welcome. Just notice. And now slowly bring your awareness to the space in front of you, the space in front of your chest, the space in front of your heart. This space in front of you is the field of becoming. And here, the North Node in Pisces begins to glow. And it appears not as a task, but as a soft current of luminous water. And maybe you can sense or see these golden ribbons of light in front of you. And this luminous water does not demand, it invites. It invites us to trust without needing proof. It invites us to trust our intuition, to trust ourselves without apology. And it invites us to surrender without collapse, to feel the sacredness of surrender. It's reminding us that we don't need to step into this path with effort. We're not making it happen, we're receiving it through our willingness to release. And now imagine that you're now gently stepping forward out of the old contracts behind you and into this luminous current of light and water. And as you step forward, notice that the water is just the perfect warm temperature. It's supportive and it's surrounding you, and you're floating in it. And feel how it holds you without question. And notice how you are floating and not falling. And just stay here for a little bit of time. Allow yourself to feel what it's like to be carried and held rather than managed. As you're floating in this water, let yourself feel what it's like to be guided rather than driven. And as you're here floating in this luminous water, you can say aloud or to yourself, I allow myself to be held by the larger intelligence of life. And take a nice deep breath in through your nose, release through your mouth. I trust what moves through me even when I cannot name it. And finally, I release control as my primary language of safety. And again, take a nice, easy, deeper breath in. Take that in as much as you see fit. And exhale, letting go. And above you now, you sense the Sagittarius sun conjunct the great attractor. That vast, invisible gravitational pull, pulling you, drawing you toward your future. And the great attractor reminds us, shows us we do not need to see the destination. We only need to feel the energetic pull. See if you can surrender into that knowing that this is fate or destiny as magnetism, not as compulsion. It's magnetic, it's energetic, it's above and beyond linear time. And notice how your body responds when you orient toward what calls you forward rather than what you're trying to perfect. And allow the light of the moon and the magnetic energy of the great attractor to hold you in this wonderful access of just feeling called to release as you're moving into your future becoming. You're perfectly centered between what has been in the past and what is calling you forth in the future. You're present. And now imagine from the top of the head down through your spine, there's this energy weaving through you. It's coming from the moon. It's coming from all the cosmic entities that are active right now. And it's this living current of support. And as it weaves through your spine, notice how it affects your breath. The breath drops and gets easy. And the emotional body feels understood and held. And as you receive this current of energy, this current of support, you intuitively know you're not letting go, you're not dissolving without a container, you're dissolving, you're releasing inside grace. And imagine your energetic field right now is just illuminated with the energy of the moon, the energy of the great attractor, and you're just floating, being held. And allow this sense of grace to permeate every cell of your body and every aspect of your energetic field. And just spend a few deep, easy breaths in this grace, in this living current of support. Take it in, breathe it in, receive it consciously, purposefully. And as you release your breath, let that release be an actual release and an energetic release. Couple more rounds of breath here. Receiving on the inhale and letting go on the exhale. Wonderful. You can stay here for as long as you'd like. When you're ready, you can just gently begin to return to the space that you began this meditation in. And set the intention to bring this softened and deepened sense of trust with you. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. As always, I'm super grateful for the thousands and thousands of people around the world that are just co-creating this web of light. And just one more reminder that we're 2 weeks into the 4 week free lunar herbal alchemy intensive, and it's combining the wisdom of the stars, the medicine of the plants, and the art of ritual and energy healing. And if that sounds interesting to you, just make sure you're on my email list so you can get up to speed, get all the recordings, and even participate with us for the next couple Saturdays. Have a blessed full moon. Also, if you're on my email list, I'm going to be sharing a ritual for you to do in sync with this super full moon. Take care, guys. I'm grateful for you.